All right, welcome, traveler. So, you're heading to Jemison Station. Good choice. But before you dock, you're going to need a quick briefing on let's call it a local disturbance. Yeah, think of this as your pre-session lore dump, so you don't walk in completely blind. And it all started with this. I said, Princess Bubblecup's not here. This one, kind of cryptic announcement, it kicked off one of the most chaotic, insane live broadcasts in the history of the entire Centaur asteroid ring. You know that moment in a game where the dice just clatter onto the table all once? Yeah, this is when the session went completely, gloriously off the rails. And you've got to understand, Jemison Station, it's a pressure cooker. You've got art, you've got commerce, and you've got some serious factional tension all bubbling under the surface. It's like a high-level hub world, but with some very, very unique house rules. So, okay, let's get into the situation report. We got to make sure you can navigate this place safely.
So here's what we're going to cover. We'll look at the incident itself, the key players and factions you need to know, the anatomy of the meltdown, how it all went down, and then we'll get into the weird stuff, the local economy and physics. After that, the art auction aftermath, and finally, your traveler's takeaway. Think of it as your survival guide to understanding the key players, that big flashpoint, the bizarre rules of their game, and, why any of this actually matters for your visit.
First up, the incident at Jemison Station. Right, so what happened was this perfect storm of romance gone wrong, some major territorial disputes, and, oh yeah, military-grade hardware. And the best part? The whole thing was streamed live. It was basically a homebrew scenario that just escalated way, way faster than anyone could have ever expected. Okay, let's break down what happened on the Jagelvac live stream. You've got a local artist, Tolo Bios, who gets confronted by an armed security agent. Simple enough, right? Wrong. The artist immediately activates this four-armed, blazing red mech suit. The agent gets violently subdued with his own weapon tied to his, well, you can read. And this entire thing, the whole conflict, is broadcast live across the system. The fallout? The station's security company gets fired on the spot. So, the crucial thing to get here is that this wasn't just some brawl. This was a public spectacle that completely flipped the power dynamics on the entire station. A massive, critical event that is absolutely going to have repercussions for sessions to come. All right, so to really get the why behind all this, you need a roster. You need to know who the major players and their factions are. Consider this your cheat sheet for the main NPCs and all the quest-giving factions you're going to be dealing with. At the absolute center of this storm is an ally named Tolo Bios. Now, he's not the hero of the story. No, he's the high-value asset the entire campaign revolves around. He's an empathic drone-class sculptor prone to molting, extravagant spending, and extreme emotional outbursts. So you've got this artistic genius who is also a walking, talking, heavily armed emotional powder keg. He's basically a high-maintenance escort quest and a living plot device, all rolled into one. And this whole situation creates this fascinating ecosystem, right? You've got Top LACorp, the megacorp who want to manage Tolo and get his art, his DNA, his molt polyhide, everything. Then there's the Gender Defense Squad, or GDS. They're a local activist group also after Tolo's art, but for station influence and their own cause. And finally, you have the Dittany Kingdom, with Princess Bubblecups, who's just trying to do business, make alliances, and fix her StarCraft. So you have a corp, an activist guild, and an independent operator all circling the same main resource, Tolo. And not just his art, but his biological output. So yeah, as a traveler here, you're going to need to choose your allegiances very, very carefully. So how exactly did we get from a simple greeting to, well, a biohazard situation involving a mail chute? Let's check the tape. This is the blow-by-blow, the anatomy of a meltdown, that one spectacularly failed diplomacy check. Okay, so check out this timeline. T-minus 86 seconds. The station's sensors show that the singer, Nectar Eye Crystal, has begun ovulating, which just cranks up the tension in the room. T-minus 10 seconds. Nectar's boyfriend, this guy they call the Vespa Cop, draws his weapon on Tolo, in Tolo's own home. Bad move. At T0, Tolo's Jagelvac armor just activates, going from dull black to blazing red. 30 seconds later, the cop is subdued literally inside a piece of a bulkhead door. And by the 1-minute mark, Tolo is threatening to eject him through a mail airlock, warning, and I quote, "I'm going to make him eat the mattress while you watch space suck him through that tube, balls first." I mean, this just shows you the sheer speed and severity of it all. It went from a domestic dispute to a full-blown military-level threat in under 2 minutes. One bad roll, and it was a total party kill, for the security team at least. And Tolo's whole justification for this, it was simple. It was absolute. He just yells, "Get out of my house, bitch, now. This is my house. My friends helped me build this warren."
I mean, it's a total violation of his personal space, a place he sees as completely sacred. You know, it's like when someone invades your meticulously crafted player housing in a game, you gotta respond in kind. Okay, now to really get the fallout from all this, you have to understand the local game mechanics, and they are weird. The currency is bizarre, biology is a commodity, and the way they travel is just strange. Seriously, this is the chapter of the rulebook you do not want to skip. So on Jemison, wealth is measured in glitter. But it's not that simple. There's standard NGLT, glitter, which is the gold standard. A gigaton of it was bid for a single painting, so it's serious money. It represents the established wealth of factions like the GDS. But then you have danger glitter. It's less valuable, but it's what the big corporations like Thablo Corp use for their more speculative bids. The type of glitter you use is like choosing between gold pieces and soul coins. One signals your old money established, the other signals you're playing a much riskier corporate game. And this is where it gets even stranger. Tolo's value isn't just in his art, it's in his biology. See, as an Alakite, he goes through this process called molting, shedding his skin after intense emotional or physical events. That resulting hide becomes an incredibly valuable commodity. And any art he creates during that period, highly sought after. It's a unique racial trait. After a meltdown like the one we just saw, his literal skin becomes a luxury crafting component. I mean, think of it like harvesting a dragon's scales after a really tough boss fight. And speaking of weird rules, forget warp drives. Their fast travel system is literally called spooky action at a distance. And here's how it works. Tolo's method, anyway. First, a queen has a desire for a destination. Then, probes lay down a trail of what they call cookie crumbs in space. A calculator decodes the artist's, Tolo's, poetic gibberish into actual coordinates. The queen's desire then literally pulls the destination to her, and bam, she steps through what they call a donut hole. It's a process that turns poetry and pure desire into a physical portal through space. It's basically a high-level, narrative-driven spell that needs multiple people in different roles and a whole lot of role-playing to pull off. So, naturally, what's the very first thing you do after a system-wide broadcast of extreme violence? You sell the merch, of course. Welcome, everyone, to the loot distribution phase of the adventure. And the centerpiece of this whole auction was a painting Tolo made right before the incident. It's called Spooky Action at a Stupid Distance. It's this tetrahedron that contains rare glitter and 108 gold stars. This is it. This is the unique magical item that everyone is now fighting over. So the Gender Defense Squad comes in swinging. They open with a record-shattering bid, 1 gigaton. 1 gigaton of top-tier glitter. I mean, that is a player faction going completely all in, putting their entire treasury on the table just to secure this one objective. But the Black Corp completely outmaneuvered them. And they didn't win with more money. Nope, they won with a 10-year branding lease on the Dittany Kingdom's resort holdings. It was a power play. They didn't just buy the item. They bought a long-term strategic advantage on the entire campaign map. Genius. So after all of that, what's the takeaway for you, the traveler? How are you supposed to survive a stay on Jemison Station? Well, here you go. This is your cheat sheet for new players joining the server. Okay, survival tips. Number 1, personal space is sacred. Trespassing might literally get you dismembered. 2, understand that art, biology, and corporate branding are all forms of currency here. 3, faction loyalty is everything. Trying to be neutral is just going to make you look suspicious. 4, never, and I mean ever, interrupt an elate when he is hypersensitive after molting. Just don't. And finally, remember that all drama is content and all content will be monetized. Follow these simple rules and you might just get to enjoy the station's amenities without becoming a cautionary tale for the next group of adventurers. Seriously, these are the loading screen tips for this zone. Pay attention. So look, Jemison Station is a powder keg. It's a mix of corporate greed, artistic volatility, and this fierce independence. As a visitor, where are you going to place your bets? The board is set, the pieces are moving, and the next explosion is really just a matter of time. The only question is, what role are you going to play when it all goes down? The Game Master is looking right at you and asking, what do you do? Safe travel.